Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to touch on a topic that's really important to me and that has sort of affected my life in a way that's probably good and bad, and that is mental health. Now, just a bit of a disclaimer, I'm by no means a professional in mental health advice. I'm just going off by my experiences and my coping mechanisms, and yeah, so just a little disclaimer, this is my personal journey with it and what I have gone through and what I have sort of dealt with, I suppose. It's some of these things are really personal and really raw, and they probably will cop a little bit of judgment, but that's okay. That's like, I'm putting myself out there, so there's not much I can really do about that. But yeah, so my goal today is just to share my story in the hopes that it might make someone feel a little bit better, or feel like they if they feel like really helpless, or they can't get help, or they don't want to get help, then this might motivate them too, because I remember feeling like I'm the only person who is going through this and no one gets it, no one understands. So I do know everyone's circumstances are different, everyone has different things going on in their lives. So this is all just what happened to me and what is still happening to me. So yeah, so let's begin. So my main sort of mental illness thing in my life was, or is, anxiety. I suffer from very high anxiety, to the point where I am now medicated for that, because I was not coping. And I never have coped with anxiety. I have had depression, but my depression's like this big for me. Anxiety is just like on a whole new level. So anxiety is where you can suffer from panic attacks. Your chest will go tight. You stress about every single thing. You overanalyze. You convince yourself of stories in your head, and you will believe they are real. A lot of more different factors. These are just the ones that I sort of deal with nearly every day. So it started from a very young age for me. I have separation anxiety as well, which means I can't be separate from someone or something, which is very strange. So I know when I was younger, a lot of kids get homesick. So I obviously got homesick, but to the point where I couldn't be separated from my mother. Obviously, when I first started school and going to school, you always cry when you get dropped off at school in grade prep, but I think I did it for months and months. And then I eventually came good. I didn't go on my first camp until I was in year 8, till I was 14 years old, because I couldn't sleep. I would go to my friends' houses, and they would have to ring my mum at like some stupid hour of the morning or stupid hour late at night saying to come pick me up because I was inconsolable. And when I mean inconsolable, I don't mean just crying. I mean full-blown tantrum. Like, I couldn't breathe because I was crying that hard. Like, it was full on. I remember staying at my best friend's house, who I've known for my entire life. Like, literally, we've known each other for 30 years. And I couldn't even stay there. I could not be away from my mum. When I felt like she was abandoning me, and that really scared me. It really did. I just couldn't be without her. My brother, who is 10 years older than me, bought our family home so he could start his little family in there. And so me, my mum and my stepdad all moved like half an hour away, sort of towards the coast. And I couldn't even stay at my old house that I was pretty much born in, grew up in, without my mum. Even though my brother was there and his wife was there, I couldn't stay there at all. So that was really, like, I look back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how silly. But yeah, so I've dealt with that my whole life. Still am dealing with that. that I eventually come good of that around the age, obviously 14, when I could stay away from my mum, when I become like in high school and having friends and going like to their houses and all that sort of stuff. So, and then it switched on to my ex, who, so the one thing that people probably, only a very small amount of people who know me personally will know that I have been married before. So my ex-husband, we separated January in 2018. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details. I don't really want to, and I don't think that's relevant at this stage. But anyway, so my separation anxiety then transferred onto him. And I hadn't had separation anxiety for a long time. So we met when we were 20, and I was 20. He's 3 years older than me. Sorry, my monitor's down there, so I'm just looking to make sure that he's still asleep. Yeah, so we met when I was 20 years old, and we were, you know, young, dumb. And as our relationship progressed, we were together for about 8 years. We were together for 6 years when we got married. So yeah, and he worked in the mines, so he was in and out constantly, which was fine. I adapted well to that. I didn't really need him around all that often, and it was nice. Like, I had my time, and then he went back to work and he had his time even though he was working, and it just worked for us. But then it got to the point where I was like, nah, I want you to come home. I want you to I want us to be a family. I wanted to, yeah, when we were getting married, I wanted to be with him. And so he did that for 5 years out of our relationship, and for some reason a situation happened. Hi. Between us, that my anxiety just come racing back. My separation anxiety came racing back. So I don't really know how to sort of, I don't want to say really gory details of what actually happened, because it's really traumatic. He wasn't the person I thought he was, and I couldn't be separated from him. So if we would go out to a party together, and obviously we'd be drinking and whatever, and I'd be like, okay, it's time to come home. He'd be like, no, I want to stay. And I'd be like, oh, my chest would tighten. I'd freak out, and I'd be like, he doesn't want to be with you, Abby. He doesn't want to, he doesn't love you. He doesn't do this. This is what would run through my head. And it was the same with my mum years ago. It was like, she didn't want to be around you. You felt abandoned, and you felt neglected. Even though my childhood I wasn't neglected, but I felt really neglected in a lot of my relationship. I didn't see it at the time, but obviously you're dumb, you're young and in love, and you don't see those sorts of things. So when any of those situations would come up, I would be like, no, let's just go home, I'm tired. And he'd be like, no, I want to stay. And he'd be like, just piss off, leave me, like, you'll be fine, just go home. And for a normal person, or a normal girl, or normal people in those relationships, it'd be like, yeah, I'll see you in the morning, like, just don't be a pain in the ass when you come home. I'm not like that. I'm a little bit like that still now, but I wasn't at that stage in my life. He had to come home with me because my anxiety was so high if I was separate from him, because I thought that I had to keep, like, he was like a security blanket, I suppose. I thought, if I keep him here with me, then he's with me. Like, it's a bit of a security blanket. And while he was still out and I was at home, I didn't sleep. It was horrible. I would cry and cry. I would freak out. So that went on for a long time. And I can't say that it was easy. It was so hard, because you're trying to be the perfect girlfriend. And he's never dealt with mental illness. He's never really had depression, anxiety, or any sort of mental illness ever at this stage. So it was very hard for him to understand what I was going through. So he just didn't care. He may did, but he didn't show he cared that I was upset because he wanted to come, like I wanted him to come home with me, or I wanted him there. I remember before we got married, he had his bucks, and obviously he did what blokes do on bucks nights. They go run rampant, and that was fine, but he was gone for like 2 days. And I said, okay, it's time to come home now, because I was dying. Not because I thought he was up to no good, but I just needed him home. I just needed him there. And he's like, no, like, I'm out partying. And I'm like, oh, can you please just come home? And he's like, no. So I freaked out. Yep. Like, full-blown freaked out. Started howling, like fucking howling. Like, rocking back and forward. I rang his sister, and I'm like, I don't know where he is or what he's doing. I just need him home. I rang my best friend. I rang my mum. It wasn't a pretty sight at all. It was like a tantrum, because I was freaking out inside. My chest was tight. I was shaking, everything. Those sorts of situations happened more than they should have in our relationship. So the separation anxiety for my marriage and my relationship with him was there constantly, and that was really hard to live with. That was really, 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 really hard, and that was really unenjoyable to be in a relationship and a marriage where you feel like you can't be honest. So there were times where I would just go home and I would act all cool, because he would be like, oh, why would I want to go home with you? You're crazy. And why would you want to go home with someone who wants to fuck? You should be able to do whatever you want in a relationship. But that really ruined, was a part of, yeah, it can ruin relationships, and it can ruin a lot of things. Mental illness is really, really, really fucking tough. And then sort of once we separated and I was like, yep, done with my marriage, a few other things happened that were really, really, really fucked up. Really fucked up, that I'm not going to get into. And then we called it quits, and I said, no, I'm done. Anyway, next scenario. Once I had Freddie, my little boy, he caused a whole nother different form of anxiety, but I'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, so when Freddie was born, I had very severe separation anxiety with Kane. So the week Freddie was born, there was a situation where Kane wanted to go to a friend's house, sort of like not even a week after Freddie was born, to watch a UFC fight or something. And I thought, oh yeah, that's okay. Like, he's been amazing around the house. He's been phenomenal with me. He's helped me. He's everything. And he's a great dad, still is a great dad, and still is a great partner. So I was so anxious about him leaving the house without me, because the first thing my brain told me, or my subconscious told me, is that he does not want to be here with you. You are the reason he wants to get away. This is all your fault. He doesn't want to be here with you. And I was like, that made me feel fucking horrid. So I was crying before he left, and he said, just ring me if you need me. He knew about how I was feeling, so it wasn't like he was unaware. I told him that I was really anxious, I'm scared. And he goes, if you need me, you ring me. He was literally around the corner. If you need me, you ring me, I'll be straight here. All the boys have got their phones, you know their numbers. If you can't hold me, I'll check my phone every half an hour. I'll text you every half an hour. He was phenomenal, still is like that. So I tried so hard to just let it go. And he was actually going on a Bucks week the next weekend, and that was playing in my mind, like, he's going to go and party, and he's going to be like what my ex was. And that's like this history. I convinced myself that history was going to repeat itself again. And so that was, I tried to get through the day on that Sunday. So Freddie was born on the Monday, and the Sunday he went to his mate's place to watch the fight, and my mum was here to just keep an eye on me and make sure I wasn't in too much of a bad state, and then it all started. He was texting me every half an hour saying, how are you going, babe? What are you doing? Are you keeping busy? Are you doing this? And I was in bed trying to have a nap, and I just could not nap for the life of me. Oh, excuse me. I could have a nap now, though. And then I just broke down, howling, absolutely howling. Yeah, I was absolutely miserable that he wasn't here, so I had a tantrum. I was shaking my arms, I was on my bed, I was like full blown, like like my mum tried to hug me, and I'm like, don't touch me, I need him here, call him. So mum's like, no, it's okay, he'll be home soon. My mum tried to like reassure me, and I'm like, no, call him. And I couldn't even get out words. I was crying so loud it actually woke Freddie up. So that's how loud and full on I was. And Freddie sleeps through anything. So she said, hey, Kane, I think you better come home for a minute. And then Kane came home, and he was amazing. He sat me down and we talked, and I felt a bit better. So I said, do you know what? You go back there. If you come home around 5:30, I'll be fine. He goes, no worries. And he did. He came home around 5:30, and we had a really good chat, and it was really, and then I decided, no, something needs to be done. This is not right. Freddie was only a week old then, and I am a big believer that if you're anxious or if you're stressed or whatever and you have a baby, they will sense that, they will pick up on that, and then they get all weird and whatever. And I wasn't a good mum, but I wasn't mentally there for him. I was physically there, like I was feeding him, and I was like, ugh. I wasn't there for him, so I thought, no, this is ridiculous. I need to get this fixed. So I went to the doctor, and he put me on some medication. I'm still on that medication, and I probably will be on it for the rest of my life. So yeah, it's really, 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 really hard. Life's really hard, especially when you suffer a mental illness, and it's even harder if you suffer a mental illness and you are partnered with someone who doesn't understand that. And it's even harder when that person actually doesn't want to understand it. That's what I was going through in my marriage. At the time, he didn't want to even bother understanding, and that made me feel like I was not worth loving, or I wasn't. And then those things stick with you for life. I still feel like that. I still feel like I'm not worthy of people's love because I'm just crazy. I'm crazy Abby. So yeah, that was really hard, and it's really, really hard to get over. There are a lot of other things I do suffer with. I'm probably not going to go into them just yet, or in this video, but yeah, I just wanted to let anyone know that whoever is going through whatever you're going through, please get help. Please talk to someone. I put off getting help for, 25 years. I'm 30, but like for the first 5 years of my life, I'm fine. But for years and years and years, I put it off. So please don't, especially if you've had a new baby, especially if you've struggling with something, if you can't sleep, if you can't get out of bed, those are things that you need to figure out why. And I can guarantee you'll thank yourself so much, so many times over again, because it is really hard. There are tough times in life, and you will get through them. I honestly didn't think there was a time that I didn't think that, what's the point of me even being here? There is absolutely nothing else to live for, especially when I went through a certain situation. So that was really, really, really tough. So please, like, I'm begging you, I'm giving you a virtual hug and letting you know that it is going to be okay. Tough times pass. Tough times pass. I just spat. And time heals all wounds. It does. It really, really does. So if anyone ever needs a chat or to talk to someone they don't know, I found chatting to someone I didn't know really, really better, because they gave you an honest opinion about what was going on, or they tell you, do you know what you're feeling is valid. Just because your situation might be different from someone else's does not make your feelings any less special. You are entitled to feel however you want. So if you're sad, cry. If you're happy, laugh. If you want to drink and a cigarette because you've had a like tough as fuck day, go have one. Trust me, I've done it a few times since having Freddie. I was like, Kane comes home from work and I'm like, right, I need a glass of wine, I need a cigarette and calm down. And that's what I do. It's probably a bit silly, but I'm a very raw and honest person. I don't smoke full time whatsoever, but there are times when I just need to chill on my own. And anyone is entitled to do what they do. Get a massage, go for a walk, punch a hole in something, preferably not your house because then that just looks ugly. Punch pillows, scream into a pillow, get some boxing gloves and smash shit out of something, or just find someone, cry, or call a friend up. And don't forget to ask people how they're going, because it is really easy to get lost in our own sort of situation. So it takes 2 seconds to say, hey mate, how are you, in a text or a phone call. So yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out for help, because people are more than willing to help. I'm willing to help anyone who feels like they just need to chat. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. I didn't really want to make this video too long because I really don't focus on sit-down videos for very long, so I thought, no, I'm not going to make it too long. I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because it really supports me at the moment, like supports my channel. So yeah, thanks.